The moment reproductive rights advocates have feared for years is here. On Wednesday, the Supreme Court will hear arguments in a case that poses the biggest challenge yet to Roe v. Wade, the landmark decision that made abortion legal nationwide almost 50 years ago. While much of the recent conversation about threats to abortion access has centered on Texas, where a novel legal design has allowed the state to halt almost all abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy, the court's arguments this week will focus on a 15-week ban in Mississippi. It marks the first time since Roe that the court is set to rule on the constitutionality of a law that prohibits abortion before a fetus is viable, that is, before it can survive outside the womb. It's also the first major abortion case to be taken up by the court since the conservative majority grew to 6-3 with the confirmation of Justice Amy Coney Barrett in 2020. For years, laws like Mississippi's have been struck down by the lower courts as unconstitutional because under Roe and Planned Parenthood v. Casey, the 1992 ruling that said restrictions cannot place an undue burden on access, states cannot ban abortion before the point of viability, which is usually around 24 weeks.
Now, in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, the state of Mississippi is calling on the Supreme Court to overturn Roe and Casey and uphold its 15-week ban. If the court does either, or both, large swaths of the South and Midwest will likely try to eliminate abortion access. People who can afford to travel may be able to receive care in other states where abortion is protected, but those who can't will have to face the risks of carrying unwanted pregnancies to term or ending them in another, and potentially unsafe, way. If the court overrules Roe, takes this right away, allows states to ban abortion at virtually any point in pregnancy, we will see chaos for women, for the courts, for people around the country as the ripple effects are felt in many states, not just in the states that ban, said Julie Reichelman, Senior Director of Litigation at the Center for Reproductive Rights, which is representing Jackson Women's Health, the only remaining abortion clinic in Mississippi. It's difficult to say at this point what the Supreme Court will actually do. Here's what we know about the potential outcomes and what's at stake. Signed into law in March 2018, the Mississippi Gestational Age Act prohibits abortions after 15 weeks in gestation except when the life of the pregnant person is in danger or if there is a severe fetal abnormality that would prevent the fetus from surviving outside the womb. Doctors who violate the law would have their licenses suspended or revoked and could face a fine. The law was immediately put on hold after Jackson Women's Health sued the state and then repeatedly blocked by the district and appellate courts. If the Supreme Court reverses the lower court's judgment and upholds the state's ban, it would take effect immediately. If the Supreme Court overturns Roe or weakens it by upholding Mississippi's 15-week ban or eliminating the viability standard, 26 states would likely try to prohibit abortion, according to the Guttmacher Institute, an abortion rights research and advocacy group that tracks state legislation. As of November 1, 22 states already have laws in place that they could use to enforce abortion bans. Of those, 12 have passed so-called trigger bans that are designed to take effect immediately or through quick state action if Roe is overturned, according to the Institute. In a post-Roe or post-viability standard world, those who live in areas where abortion is illegal and can afford to travel out of state will likely travel to a state where it is still accessible. But, as we've seen in the wake of Texas's 6-week ban, those patients may overwhelm facilities in the 15 states, plus Washington, D.C., with laws in place to protect abortion. And that could result in delays in care for everyone. Shannon Brewer, director of Jackson Women's Health, said that as a result of Texas's law taking effect, her clinic has increased the number of days they see patients from 2 or 3 to 5 or 6 days a week to deal with the influx of patients from the state. They're panicking. They don't know what to do because they're calling surrounding states, and a lot of those states all booked up 3 or 4 weeks, Brewer said during a November 15 media briefing. That's just one state that did that, so just imagine if the Supreme Court turns everything over to the states and says that any state can ban an abortion. But the patients who may be able to get an abortion elsewhere will probably represent a small fraction of those who need care. In 2014, 75% of abortion patients had low incomes, according to the Guttmacher Institute. In Mississippi, due to the financial burden and other restrictions that make it harder for people to access abortion, and create delays in qualifying for the procedure, A ruling upholding the state's 15-week ban would disproportionately impact poor, young, and black women, Brewer said. They are going to be pushed further and further into poverty, she said.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.